Hello, it is Money Making Monday, March 10th, 2025. Steve Sipress here on a gorgeous spring day here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area of Arizona. Hope it's fantastic wherever you are. And I am not dressed in my typical t-shirt, sweatshirt, Hawaiian shirt, polo shirt, whatever you name it. Today I'm wearing my uniform of sales. White button-down shirt, blue blazer. When I was up north my entire life, living in New York, Boston, Philly, Chicago, I would also be wearing a tie. But here in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area, Arizona, I remember my first entrepreneur business meeting that I hosted in Scottsdale, and I was wearing a tie. And somebody who I respect, I think one of the speakers I had at the event came up to me and said, "Get that tie off down here. We don't wear a tie." So sometimes they do extremely formal events here, but this is pretty much the entrepreneur slash salesperson uniform for the area. Whatever it is in your area, don't you want to maximize your sales? Don't you want to maximize the effectiveness of your persuasion attempts, your attempts at influence, sales, manipulation, persuasion, whatever you want to call it? It helps to dress the part, look the part, act the right part, the words you're speaking, your body language, everything ought to matter. We saw an example of this in the negative a couple of weeks ago with the famous blow-up meeting heard round the world, where Zelensky came into the White House trying to make like $100 billion sale or something, like trying to influence Trump to give him billions of dollars, and yet he wore his typical uniform of I'm in solidarity with the troops wearing a sweatshirt kind of thing, and which is all fine, except that, that worked. It worked on Joe Biden, it worked on the Congress, works in the UN, did not work on Trump, because here's the difference. Trump was not inclined, predisposed, pre-sold, already having decided in favor of, whatever you want to call it, sending more money to the never-ending money laundering pit of Zelensky and Ukraine. He is against the military-industrial complex. Trump likes to start trade wars. Doesn't like military wars where people actually die. And he had stated this clearly. He ran on it. He campaigned on it. He stated it over and over and over. In came Zelensky with an uphill battle, with something to prove, with an opportunity to persuade, to influence, to overcome the objection, to make the sale, whatever you want to call it, of Donald Trump. And yet he came in underdressed for the occasion. Now, people, and how'd that work out for him? So I'm not saying that was the cause of him not getting the money, but it certainly didn't help. Now, people make the wrong analogy or comparison to Elon Musk wearing a tech support t-shirt and wearing a MAGA hat and an overcoat or whatever walking through the White House. Now, I just saw, I think on the news today or yesterday on social media, there's a kid with the brain damage that in Trump's speech to Congress, he made him the honorary, or you're dubbed the FBI, the Secret Service, the whatever. He made him some kind of way. Well, there he was in the White House, picture of him with Trump, and he's wearing a cop uniform or whatever. If it was Secret Service, they wear a suit. But anyway, he was wearing like a police uniform. His dad was there wearing a cowboy hat and a denim shirt and whatever. Like, oh, isn't that similar disrespect? Like, so what a hypocrite that you think you have to wear a suit and tie if you're in the White House in the Oval Office with the president. You're missing the point entirely. See, the brain damage suffering kid was already had Trump's favor. Trump had brought him as a guest to the State of the Union Congress speech, whatever they call it, and gave him some kind of a prize and upgraded him and made him an honorary member, or technically a member of the Secret Service or FBI, whatever it was. He had celebrated the kid. The kid had nothing, didn't have to overcome any objections from Trump, didn't have to influence or persuade or sell anything to Trump. Same with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is working for Trump inside the administration heading up this, cutting out the waste and the fraud and the kickbacks and the corruption, all that crap out of the government. He doesn't have to sell anything to Trump and convince Trump and persuade Trump, but Zelensky certainly did. So if you think you already have the sale locked up, like Zelensky had with Biden, and enough dirt on Biden and Biden's crime family to get anything you wanted out of him. So if you think that you have the sale sewn up because you have dirt on the person, or because you for some reason, whatever it is, they've bought for you so many times and they already told you just come in and sign the contract. You know, you can come off the golf course wearing a polo shirt. You can come in wearing a T-shirt. Doesn't matter. I love you. Let's just sign the deal. You think it's such a lock, then go ahead and dress down and be casual and comfortable and dress like you're having that solidarity with the troops and all that nonsense. But if you think you need to persuade, you need to convince, you need to make a sale, you need to influence somebody, you may want to wear the uniform of sales, the uniform of persuasion, of influence, whatever that is in your industry, in your area. And speaking of industry, if it's in the medical industry, then you would wear a white lab coat, even put a stethoscope around your neck, even if, of course, you're not walking in to that patient to put a stethoscope onto them, or you don't have to be wearing a white lab coat, right? It could have been purple. Could have been a sweatshirt saying I'm in solidarity with the Ukrainian troops. I'm not wearing a white lab coat, but you will hurt your conversions of patients into patients who stay and pay more and refer more. They will have less respect. If you're a judge sitting behind a bench, I'm sure you could wear a T-shirt if you want. It's your courtroom, but they will wear a robe. And they will wear a shirt usually with a tie that you can see underneath. They want to influence. They want to persuade. They want people to respect their opinion. They don't have everyone coming into the courtroom, certainly not in the U.S. where it's an adversarial system. You have two sides. It's not often that both sides totally agree. That's when there's a settlement on the table and it's already been pre-agreed to. And still, the judge wants to convince everyone that they should respect what he says, that he should, when he passes a judgment or a sentence or agrees to something or signs off on something, he wants to persuade people to agree with him. He doesn't already have it all done. You might see in the movies when a detective or a cop is going over to get a search warrant on the weekend or in the middle of the night and goes to the judge's house just to get him to sign the search warrant. Well, then the judge is just wearing what he wears around the house. He doesn't have to persuade or convince or portray some kind of the cop already or the detective already has total respect for him. That's why he's going over to ask him to sign this thing. So again, we don't have to draw it all out, but understand that in whatever situation you're in, why not have your clothes help you to make whatever sale, to convince whoever you want to convince, to portray your position of trust and authority to the other person, if it's something important that you want to portray that authority and trust to. If you think you got it locked up, you might be in for a rude awakening. Evidently, Zelensky thought he had it locked up going into the Oval Office. Oh, let's just sign this thing and the U.S. will continue to give us hundreds of billions. Well, the U.S. is the U.S., but every 4 years or 8 years or whatever, we have a change of administration. And clearly, he did not read the room. Did he not realize that even though the U.S. has supported the Ukraine war effort, Trump has not? He said it real clearly. So you got an uphill battle. You got work to do. Your words, your posture, your choice of dress, it was all off for Zelensky. Arms folded, eye rolling, arguing, dressed in a sweatshirt. Again, Elon Musk can do all that because he's not in an adversarial position to try and convince Trump of anything. He's just coming in kind of tongue-in-cheek, gee, I'm tech support, whatever, and Trump laughs, and they're buddy-buddy, and they're on the same side, so he can dress like that. You or I, all I could think is, man, if I ever got a chance to go to the White House or anywhere and try and negotiate with Trump or convince Trump to do something that would benefit me or give me something, especially if Trump hasn't said previously, not only that's not something that he supports or he thinks he's going to give me, but he's actually stated he's against it, and I got a real uphill battle, I'm pretty sure I'm going to dress to portray as much trust and authority as I possibly can, no matter what's going on in my household, in my country, in my family. I don't care if it's war-torn, this or... Oh, yeah, people also put up I've seen photos of like Winston Churchill coming to the White House in the 1930s or early 1940s or whatever, like, trying to convince Roosevelt over and over and over to come in on the side of the Allies in World War II and help rescue Europe. So he was dressed in solidarity with the troops. But Franklin Roosevelt was on his side. They were buddy-buddy. They agreed. They loved each other. It was, it wasn't like an adversarial position. Roosevelt had not said, I am not in favor of supporting Britain, blah, blah, blah. So, you can see it the way you want to see it. I see it the way I see it, that Zelensky, I'm 3/4 Ukrainian. 3 out of my 4 grandparents were from Ukraine. The Ukrainian people deserved better than that pitiful show of failed, weakly attempted persuasion by Zelensky in the White House a couple of weeks ago, and immediately sent a letter and he apologized and said, bowed down to Trump, this and that. Like, okay, good. Hopefully he can repair it, and hopefully the U.S. will do something to support Ukraine and all of Europe, which is really just weak and on the right track and is operating from weakness and all kinds of problems. Ukraine deserves better. Your business deserves better. Your employees deserve better. Your family deserves better than for you to make the same mistake you saw Zelensky make in a big opportunity to influence, persuade, sell, to act, speak, and dress, certainly not to help himself with his authority and trust. Actually, in a lot of ways, he hurt himself and all of Ukrainians. And please, Ukrainians deserve much better than that. Hopefully, at least either Zelensky changes his tune or else they get somebody new, because that was just awful. And I hope you take this to heart and you remember the next time you are in an important position, especially adversarial, going up with someone who's a tough sale, who, even if they're not like Trump and just told you already, I don't want to support you, even if just an equal footing, you can go a long way towards helping yourself if you dress the part. That'll do it for Money Making Monday, March 10th, 2025. Thanks for being here today. I will catch you tomorrow on Topical